Going on, man? This is Ice Enigma.
Yeah, and this is T-Enigma, and this is Enigmas Unchained. What it do, my peoples? This is T-Enigma with Enigmas Unchained, and we are back again with another one. And this time we're going to do a versus episode. We hadn't done a versus in a while, but this is going to be kind of like a mini-series sponsored by yours truly, T-Enigma. It's a conversation that has always been quite popular in the anime community. We're not going to include manga in here because manga is superior, but we ain't gonna get into that. You know, when it comes to anime, there are two trains of thought. People who love the dub, people who love the sub. For different reasons, people interact with either or. You know, some of them like we're gonna get into that today with Ordinary Fellow. He's back again with another one. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I'll let him do his introduction in a moment. But you know, we're gonna be dealing with that from that perspective for multiple episodes where we figure out dub versus sub on 3 points. Whether or not the quality is good, if it's immersive, like if it keeps you in the story, and whether or not it's timeless, you know, in this construction, you know. So, Ordinary Fellow, how you doing, brother?
I'm all right. Got a little bit of a headache, but you know, Baltimore, Maryland is still Baltimore, Maryland, and we doing all right up here. Blessed to be alive.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm glad that you're still alive too. Like I said, if you got a duck and cover, it is what it is. The I saw the phone hit the floor, and I was like, "What's going on?" But
that was just low bat.
No, it's low battery. You know, but I realized that when I was like, oh no, he's just charging the battery. But yeah, so we're gonna deal with. I'm gonna be investigating this with him to see like what his thoughts are on this for himself. You know, he's a blurred. You know, he's been in the game for a while. You know, like I said, we were blurreds before we even knew what Japanese anime meant or was. You know, we were watching it and we was thinking it was just cartoons. You know, in America, we started out with dubs because that's all we had. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we didn't know that they were, you know, Japanese. We didn't understand the difference when we were younger. You know, I think it was probably around, at least for me, it was Toonami that actually explained to me that this stuff was not from America. And I was like, word? And that was before Wikipedia. You couldn't just go and pull your phone out because you more than likely didn't have a phone. You had a house phone. You know what I'm saying? So you couldn't just pull your phone out and search for nothing. You had to go to a store. And if you didn't have no car, you weren't going to no store. And mama wouldn't drive you to no FYE so you could investigate stuff. You know, so it was like so you had to get what you could get, you know, when you went to EB, like Electronic Boutique, you know, and a couple other places around the block that had like Japanese anime as a specialty because it was very rare. And we're going to talk about it today, too, about like Pioneer versus Funimation. And when it came to dub quality and how the dubs early on had superior quality. And then Funimation came in and they were literally recording in like bathrooms and hotel rooms.
Bathroom.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, but we're going to get into that. But we're going to start with quality. So, Ordinary Fellow, tell me points, I would say pros for quality on the dub and the sub. Like give me something that's good on both sides. What you got?
Well, when we're talking about anime, so it's coming from Japan, so which means that in the subtitle version, it's just going to have the original intended for the Japanese audience soundtrack and voiceovers, completely mixed and mastered cleanly, specifically for that audience. And so the subtitles, what happened is just as a courtesy, either a fan did it for free or did it through some sponsorship, or the actual company itself that actually is producing that anime in order to appeal to a Western market, then adds subtitles into the thing so you can follow along with the dialogue if you don't understand or can read Japanese.
Yep.
And so that's usually with except for very rare instances of exception, especially these days, the original quality is always going to be the highest quality on it. They're always going to go in, they're going to do a masterful job all the dialogue is and the soundtrack and the sound effects are all done with the entire art form in mind. They're speaking specifically to their target audience in Japan. And so in that instance, almost always, though not always, almost always, the subtitle version is going to be superior. The only thing that would really hurt a subtitle version of the show is that if the subs are bad, if the subs don't actually translate adequately.
Them UK subs, bro.
So sometimes subs are very, very bad.
Yeah, bro.
Sometimes, but a lot of fan subs tend to be really decent.
Yeah.
But sometimes professional subs are terrible.
Yes.
Depending upon what the intention of the company is subbing in. Yeah. To me, any kind of sub work and dub work are two sides of the same coin, or they're supposed to be. What they're trying to do is you're trying to make it accessible to a market outside of the original target market. Mm-hmm. That's what subs and dubs are supposed to do. It's supposed to create points of accessibility. Mm-hmm. The idea is that you're supposed to bring an external secondary audience in to the story, allowing them to be fully engaged and fully invested in the story without you changing the story. Don't change the story. Don't make it weird. And then quality is necessary for that. Like, since the first point here is quality, you have to make it convincing. So, which means if we're that's one of the things that make, like, let's say, old kung fu films. Mm-hmm. What makes it so funny isn't the fact that they're on wires and they have unconvincing costumes. No, it's how horrible those dubs were back in the day. The dubs were terrible.
Trash.
Like, a person's mouth would be moving for 5 seconds and then they'll just say yes or something. Yes. Like, come on now. Like don't do that. The dubs were horrible.
They were horrifying.
So bad.
Yeah. I mean, like I think
they weren't trying hard at all. They were awful. And a lot of times the story would get changed.
Yeah. On that point though, I think Jackie Chan dub movies were the best dub movies. Like as far as Asian movies. And it was because he curated the languages of Mandarin. So they knew exactly what people were saying. So people don't know that about Jack. Jack is a G, man. I mean, like that. Shout out to Jackie Chan, man. That dude is a phenomenal asset to, like, acting and like action movies and so forth. I got to go back and buy Police Story. I mean, actually thinking about that, like, Police Story was innovational. Like, there's so much innovation in Police Story. How they shot that movie and the way he did his stunts and that. But back to the anime portion. So quality wise, what qualities does a dub bring to the table? Like,
so a sub is good because it's in its original context, which means as long as the translation is good, the sub is on par. A dub, on the other hand, has a different set of challenges because it's more than just the words on the screen being correct. Mm-hmm. That means that it has to be more than just a tight translation of making sure that the information is technically accurate. But you also have to match the mouth movements of the characters that are on there. And the mouth movements are drawn for Japanese. That means you have to be really creative about your translation, but that means that your translator has to be able to not only match the mouth movements of what's been drawn, but they also have to make sure that your translation doesn't change the story at all. Pokemon, for example, is notorious. is notorious for, like, changing stuff. Voltron again, Voltron is actually a mishmash of 3 different anime to make a brand new anime. Stuff like that. Like because they realized they were having a hard time doing that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So let's not talk about like 4Kids. You know what 4Kids did to Yu-Gi-Oh. I mean, that's oh my goodness, man. Like, if you listener, if you don't know about this, please type in. Please type in. Bro, so please type in 4Kids Yu-Gi-Oh and oh my goodness, bro. Look,
oh my gosh,
there was so much wrong with goodness gracious, man. I mean, I don't know. I mean, but yeah, go ahead, man. Sorry.
So dubs have there's more work involved in making a dub successful. You have to have the technical visual aspect of it has to be right. The words have to match the mouth movement. Mm-hmm. you have to work hard to make sure that your translation doesn't change the story, where you don't have people eating. Look, in Japan, they eat rice, okay? If you're from the South, eating rice doesn't bother you. We eat rice. In the South, in the Southeast in the United States, we eat rice. It's just a staple food. We're fine with rice. Yeah. But I have to accept that not everywhere in the United States do they eat rice like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So if they're eating rice balls in Japan, it's called an onigiri. It's a snack. But in some dubs, they change it to donuts. It's not a donut.
Yeah,
it's a ball of rice. You're changing the story there. If you take a rice ball, you turn it into a jelly-filled donut, you're messing with the story. So a good dub doesn't do that. A good dub doesn't change the story. And then the other thing is that you have to have good acting.
Yes.
You have to be good. So you can't just have a good translation. You can't just match your mouth to the thing. It also has to be good, convincing acting. And then the fourth part of quality is sound design and mixing. Like it cannot sound like you recorded it in your bathroom with a mattress and a $2 mic. And there are a lot of horrible offenders out there where they took people who were, let's say, legends in the dubbing world, like people who were experienced and were fantastic actors, fantastic dub actors and actresses, voiceovers and stuff like that. But then if they had a bad script, or if they had a bad sound engineering team who did not record, mix, and master that thing well, it's trash. Johnny Young Bosch is one of the best American voiceover dub actors out there. He's amazing. He's done great work for, for instance, like Trigun playing Vaster Stampede. He's done amazing work. But he also did the voice of Renton in Eureka 7's dub, and that was one of the worst dubs I've ever. I didn't even make it 10 minutes into episode 1. I had to stop because it was so bad.
It was bad.
So even a bad sound job and a bad script can take someone who's a legendary good actor who's a giant in the field and make him do a trash job. And that's an example. Trigun versus Eureka 7 in terms of their dubs. The Trigun dub is amazing. Yes. The sound quality was great. It was, I think it was also Pioneer. I think Pioneer was also responsible for that dub. I think.
Yeah, I think Pioneer.
So you got to do a good job.
Pioneer was mostly in charge of the dubs, and at least the ones that we grew up liking, till about 97, 98, and then I remember that's when we started getting Funimation tapes for Dragon Ball. Actual Dragon Ball Z. My bad, not Dragon Ball. But we started getting tapes for Dragon Ball Z that actually dropped in store. Because I remember buying them joints. It was Trigun, Vampire Hunter D,
Tenchimuyo was another Pioneer one.
Yeah, and it was phenomenal. I mean, that was the dub for that was great. Then you had Akira. You know what I'm saying? That was
an amazing dub.
Amazing
dub.
That was
amazing.
Yeah. So,
but still not. It's still good.
To this day, still good. But once again, we put in Funimation. Funimation came in, and it was like, who cares what? Because I watched Gundam Wing, dub. And I realized that they chopped out 3 or 4 episodes, plus they mishmashed 4 or 5 episodes and kicked Dorothy out of the end. I was like, what is going on? You watch the original, you're like, wait, why is Dorothy at the end and she ain't in the, you know what? And pretty much what Ordinary Fellow was just describing. They violated each part of quality. Each part. So
bad acting, bad recording, bad mixing and bad mix engineering. You change the story.
Completely.
Mouth ain't moving along with the character. All
those things is bad, right? So now let's go to immersion. So when I say immersion, I mean when you get invested in the anime, the voice acting is so good that you feel like it's actually something real. A best example I can give you off the top of the dome that's a more recent anime is All Might versus All for One. The voice acting for that thing was phenomenal. I mean, I felt everything. And I mean, I'm using one that I know most people that watch anime now would know. Because I got many more. Because I can go on Attack on Titan and win, but I just don't want to spoil stuff right now for people because I don't read the manga. And I don't want to be that dude oh, you didn't read the manga? Try my best not to be that dude today. But when you get so caught up in the not in their voices, but the moment, because everything hits right because of the way that it was constructed. In the sub version of All Might versus All for One, and the hopelessness of that moment, the voice acting, the grunts, everything played a huge part into making sure you could feel that moment. Everybody's screaming because they were watching it on TV, trying to cheer on my own to get in there, and then finally hearing that United States of Smash. You know what I'm saying? Like when he actually pulled that out, I was like, oh my God. I was like, why in the world am I hyped? This dude is just saying United States. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I stand in the United States. There's nothing special. Like, at least for me, like, there was nothing really special about what he said, but it's the way he said it that pulled me into that moment to let me know that this move was huge. And the effects of the move, like, in the fact that it beat All for One, and that moment when he raised his fist in the air and then pointed and said that you're next. That whole sequence in that one moment was beautiful. You know what I'm saying? And it pulls you in as if you're watching a movie. And then you got another example, of an anime. I can't. It's so bad I can't remember the name of it. But it's a monster slaying joint that just came out. It's probably like a year old. And I watched it because everybody said it was bad, and I just wanted to see how bad it was, and it was bad. And the voice acting of that was so off that, like, it felt like people were screaming when they were supposed to be happy. It was like you broke my immersion. That's one reason I don't like Black Clover either, because Black Clover, the dude always screaming. I'm like, shut up. You know what I'm saying? Like, your voice is too loud. Shut up. You know what I'm saying? Like stop talking. You know what I'm saying? Black Clover will never reach the level of like a Boku no or a Dragon Ball. I'm sorry for all you fans of Black Clover. Suck it. It sucks. It's okay. Suck it up. You'll be fine. But it will never get that far because it does not appeal to normal people. It just doesn't. But the point of immersion, when it pulls you into the moments, talk to me. What do you think? What do you think are key things that needs to be addressed for the immersion to happen?
Well, I think that part of immersion for me is just one. There's the writing of the you have to have a base good story. Like if your story is not good in Japanese, it's not going to be good in English. I mean, without you having to make a completely different anime. Does that make sense? So like, if the story was trash in Japanese, you're gonna try to dub it over to another language. The only way that is gonna, if the only way you're gonna make it good is you're basically making a whole different show. Because the original Japanese thing has to be good. You already have to be working with some good quality in order to have a dub that has any chance of being good without you changing the story. So I would say starting off with a good story helps a lot. It's a foundation. The other thing, if the quality is not there, I'm not going to get immersed. I do sound design, and I also am a music producer and stuff like that, just like freelance on the side and stuff like that. So to me, sound quality is super important. Like to me, if it sounds like you're in your bathroom when you recorded that stuff, like I can hear that. Like I get pulled out. If a punch sounds like you just threw a shoe across the room, I get pulled out. That stuff, it bothers me. It's that kind of thing like that. So like I can give an example of like in instances where to me, especially if it's one of those animes that I watched during that I had like a deeply formative experience with. Yeah. There's certain anime that I would rather watch a dub for than the sub because the dub was so superlative in terms of the sound quality and what they did with it. And I had such a formative experience the first time I watched it, especially like as an early teen or a little kid, something like that. First time watching it, I had such a deeply formative experience with it that I prefer the dub. I've memorized the entire script in the dub, and the sound was amazing. To test this, for example, like Dragon Ball Z's Dead Zone. I think that's the first Dragon Ball Z movie was Dead Zone. That movie, the dub that Pioneer did on that was so spectacular. I've bought that movie twice. I had it once on VHS, and I recently, like a couple of weeks ago, bought it again. Specifically the Pioneer version. They don't print it anymore, so you got to find it like on eBay or someone who's got it. They don't make it anymore, so you got to find an old copy. But I found an old copy in good condition of the Pioneer dub, not the Funimation. The Funimation dub is horrible. But the Pioneer dub, the sound is so crisp on it. So this was made before 1080p was a thing. This was like that was made back when you had the 500-pound plasma televisions that that would take up a whole corner of your house. That's when Dead Zone came out back in that time, back before there was such a thing as high definition, and it still looks crisp on the screen on DVD at 1080p. The sound still comes through like 5.1. Like that's the kind of attention to detail that Pioneer took to where even before 5.1 and 7.1 became standard, like household surround sound standards, they had did such thorough recording in the studio and took such careful detail to trying to reproduce and represent, again, the original sound effects in the original Japanese version of it. Like, they made the stuff pop. You can hear stuff, like if you have headphones on, you can hear, like, if Piccolo's talking in one direction and someone's behind him talking, you can hear the spatial difference. Stuff like it. Dead Zone is one of the best dubs of anime of all time. And I would rather watch that dub than to watch the sub version of it, because frankly, Pioneer did a better job of actually dubbing it than Akira Toriyama actually did with the original when they did it in Japanese. Like, Pioneer actually put so much care and attention to detail that they actually made it more immersive in English than it was in Japanese.
Like
that's how masterwork.
Dragon Ball Z. And the second half, second half of Dragon Ball with Piccolo Jr. and Dragon Ball Z, the Saiyan Saga and the first part of the Frieza Saga. I would say the part that ends right when because you could feel
when Goku lands. From the moment he came out of the gravity chamber, it was a completely different show.
So I remember Ocean did a part, and he had like a surfer accent when there was a space. It was weird. I remember that joint. I was like, this is bad. But there was so many bad things that happened. Like, once Goku came, it's messed up because Goku's a villain. Like that's not even a theory. That's a spoiler.
No, he's a villain.
He's a villain of Dragon Ball. You know what I'm saying? So you take that into perspective where you got, this incredible sound. I mean, like I always joke about this. I mean, I say this to people all the time. Dead Zone, I agree with you. Dead Zone was so goddamn good. And literally my favorite voice acting was Piccolo getting blown up. And people
in the first few seconds.
Yeah, he's like, no. And you just see his body and his scream. Like, when he got hit, his body like went in and then went out.
He's like, you animals. I believed it.
It was great.
I believed it.
Look, Dead Zone was a missed opportunity. Because
it was.
Because like the fact that was actually Goku's brother too. In a sense, like that was from the same bloodline. I ain't getting that. Yeah, but I mean, I'm like, Kira, screw this trash story you got going on with Super. I mean, Super need to die. That's a whole nother thing. Super needs to be dead because it's operating in a 5-year gap in between the two last episodes of Dragon Ball Z. We've come to that understanding now because they show Oob in the manga. Spoiler. Like they show Oob as a child, a baby child, in the manga before he fought Goku again in the doggone tournament. So they confirmed it now that this is only like a break in between the last episode, the next to the last, and the last episode of Dragon Ball Z. We're just pretty much what we're getting right now. So Z is still the definitive end of the show. So I'm like we can just be done with this by now, and we could probably do something with Oob, maybe, I don't know. Because Goku is relentless with him wanting to be a hero, so he's gonna keep ruining stuff. But you're right though, as far as like you could feel the difference in the dub once we got into space to go to Namek. The whole thing changed. But the Saiyan Saga, oh my goodness! I mean, best fight.
They didn't have to me like the thing I did not understand at all. Like, I was so confused by it when they did this. Why switch out the voice actors?
I don't know. I mean,
the voice actors did an amazing job.
The first voice actor for Vegeta
was a more convincing Vegeta. He was
better.
Amazing.
Yeah, like I forget your boy.
And that dude is seasoned. That dude is in a lot of stuff. He was been in like another dub that was really good. Monster Rancher. Monster Rancher had an amazing dub.
Yo, man, Monster Rancher.
That was another super quality dub.
Come on Fox, right? Didn't they just come on Fox?
Yeah.
Lit. Man, and I said stuff like that, yeah. I mean, I'm trying to remember the first guy's name for Vegeta, because it wasn't just Christopher Sabat, because I actually think he the weakest one. That's me. I don't like his voice as Vegeta. I like it's funny too, because the Team 4-Star group, shout out Team 4-Star, they emulated the first guy. Why can't I remember this guy's name? He was the very first Vegeta voice actor before they flipped it when they went to space. Brian Drummond is his name. He was an English voice actor, and he did Ocean Dubs. Like, he did Ocean Dubs in the beginning. Dude was phenomenal. Like that English accent.
He's super seasoned. He's like I said, he's in Monster Rancher. He's in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
He's actually in most dubs that you find before 2005. He's in most dubs.
Yeah, and your boy was phenomenal. A savage with it. He was a savage with it. Like he. So Drummond was the one who gave us every single catchphrase for Vegeta in the Saiyan saga. It was not Christopher Sabat, who to me had a largely forgettable situation, except for the fact that Vegeta was just a lit character. But Drummond gave us, "It's over 9,000. I blow you into oblivion." Those lines, "Gallic God fire." That's all Drummond. That's not Christopher Sabat. Amazing acting. Amazing acting. And then we got to Sabat, and it felt like it was kind of half killed, because by the time we got to Vegeta talking to Frieza, before Frieza just beat his behind, I mean, Vegeta punked that dude. But before we get it, the emotion of Vegeta to me was lost a bit, and then he caught it back, maybe going into like the Buu saga, but he was never drumming. He was never drumming.
He was not, and then the quality of the dub itself was terrible. The actual sound quality, especially during the Frieza saga, was so. Even the Cell game, it was so bad.
Cell saga had some of the worst sound quality.
It's so bad. It is so bad. And I'm like, why did you guys do this? Like, if you had at least just left in the original, the original Super Saiyan sound effects, leave in the sound effects. Don't try to mess with them. Leave in the sound effects. Leave in the music. Like you could have at least rescued it, but they got Bruce Falconer, who's a really talented musician, but they did not mix his music well, and that hurt him.
I mean, they didn't mix it too loud.
They didn't mix it well. It was too loud.
I mean, you sit here trying to listen to
and inconsistent.
Yeah.
And then their announcer was terrible. Why did they switch announcer? The first announcer was great. The first announcer made me want to come back next week.
The second announcer was iconic, mostly because he was the confirmation that we weren't going to see the end of this thing for the next 7 to 8 days. Oh no, Goku's in a bind, and turn in the next episode of Dragon Ball Z. And I always thought that was the same voice who did Captain Ginyu, because their voices were so similar. I was wrong, but their voice was so similar. I was like, I just got done watching Ginyu the villain, and then he is announcing it at the end. It's just I don't know. Yeah. Immersion was broken.
I understand that for intellectual property purposes, because people do this all the time. Like artists now are being encouraged to where, if they get into a situation where they're not able to assume their if they're not able to own their masters for their songs, they're encouraged that if you want to own your songs, just re-record them. Re-record the whole thing, and then you'll own the new set of masters if you just re-record them. Just re-record the stuff. Taylor Swift is in the process now of re-recording her entire catalog because she wants her song, because she knows her label's not going to give her masters. Funimation could have just re-recorded it, but re-record it with the same team. Just re-record it. I get that you didn't own the masters and you want to own the masters. Then just re-record the darn thing with the same team, and don't spend $5,000 on your mix engineer.
Yeah.
Go to a studio. Like Oceans did a great job. They went to a world-class studio, and they did a great. They had good microphones in a real studio, and they had a real mix engineer come in there and made world for me to live in. Like, it's not that hard.
Yeah. Because I'm like, now I'm curious to see what did Ocean do back in the day, because I can't remember the full list, but I do remember at least two that was done phenomenally. It was Death Note and I forgot the name of the other joint. Because they did lots of English stuff too, but I remember them like helping out with Death Note and a few other things. They did Endless Waltz. That's what it was. And Endless Waltz was phenomenal. The voice in that voice acting in that was great. But they didn't do Gundam Wing, like just a regular Gundam Wing. You know what I'm saying? That was in the hands of other folk who were trash. But
here's the proof though. The proof was they took the same exact cast from Gundam Wing.
They did.
But they did a better recording job and they did a better mix and master.
I'm gonna throw you another one.
And that was a completely different experience.
I'll throw you another one. This one I didn't know. Fatal Fury and Escaflowne were done by Ocean Dub.
I believe that because you know what?
Like, Escaflowne, man.
I would say especially Escaflowne, the movie, is one of the most immersive anime experiences I've ever had. And guess what? The cast was amazing.
Yes.
It was some of those same Dragon Ball Z people were actually doing the voices in Escaflowne, the movie. Some of the same folks.
So you said Trigun. You said Trigun already, right?
Yep, Trigun, one of the best
Trigun.
I actually prefer the Trigun dub to the sub. I'm just going to be keep it a buck right there.
Agreed. No, I'm saying, and they also did Ronin Warriors or Samurai Trooper, whichever way you know them as. But they also did.
And the acting was good.
And sound quality.
Topple was trash. Everything else was really good.
Yes.
Topple. Like I just recently rewatched it, and Topple was awful. I was embarrassed every time he talked. He pulled me out. It's like, why is he Scottish? What is going on here? Nobody else is trying to be Scottish. What is happening right now?
Look, man, he wanted to be different, man. He wanted to live his best life, you know.
He doesn't even look Scottish. Where's his kilt? What is going on here?
Yeah. So Gintama, I didn't know that. I didn't know they did Gintama dub. I didn't know that. That's interesting. Huh.
Their quality is good, but the Gintama is one of those things where it is so Japanese.
It is very Japanese.
So specifically Japanese that the sub is all like that. Unless you just have a completely trash sub, like where they just didn't even try to translate it well.
Yeah,
that's better as a sub, no matter what. There's nothing they can do to make that better. You're not elevating it by subbing that.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, by dubbing that, you're not elevating that because there's just too much really specific Japanese things going on in there.
The other one that they did was Inuyasha, which I will give them props. So I'm not like shout out to Ice Enigma. Ice Enigma's favorite anime. You know what I'm saying? But that was voice acting. That was great. I mean,
it was, and it was immersive. It was very immersive.
I would never take that away from them. I mean, like voice acting, that joint was phenomenal. I mean, it was so good. I hated Inuyasha's voice, but his voice made sense to me. You know what I'm saying? Because of the character, they picked the right character to voice him, the right person to voice the character. You know, so
parallel wise, compared to like how it sounded in Japanese, it was close. It was actually the equivalent of what it sounded, because he had a similar kind of whininess in Japanese as well.
So
it was really well.
That's another thing I think about too, and you get like characters that one of the things that breaks immersion as well. That you can, if you can think about it, the best way you can. Can you remember any other characters that were in dub sub that like the sub? I mean, with the original version that was subbed, the voice actor was so phenomenal, and then you got to the dub, and you're like, who in the world is this?
Let's see, an experience where the dub just kind of took me. I think I said it earlier with Eureka 7.
I mean, like Renton
Thurston. Like with Renton Thurston. That is such a specific voice and such a specific character. Like Renton Thurston, because there's not a lot of anime characters that are quite like Renton Thurston. That's quite true. Interesting. And you can tell that was made specifically for a Japanese audience. They were not thinking about a Western audience at all when they put it together.
They were not. They ridiculed.
It was phenomenal.
They ridiculed the West for all 50 episodes. Like it was a.
They had an all-star cast. See, here's the thing though. When they dubbed it, they had an all-star cast. Johnny Young Bosch is one of the foremost voiceovers in English for dubs. And he's really good at what he does.
Yeah.
And he was terrible as Renton.
Yeah.
He was and they mixed it badly. It just wasn't good. It was horrible. So that's the example that I can think of. What's another one? Probably that's the only one I can think of off the top of my. Blue Gender. Well, Blue Gender is not good.
Look, let's not talk about Blue Gender. We've already rule number one of Enigmas Unchained when it comes to anime is to never talk about Blue Gender. And for people listening, please don't watch it. I mean, really, don't treat this as a god. Just don't. You don't want the knowledge of good or evil on this. Just don't. Okay,
it's not good. I mentioned that Unspeakable show because that's an example of where I said if the story is already trash, then you're not going to be able to make a dub that's going to be better without changing it. And they did the best they could to be faithful when they dubbed it, and it was worse because then it was you took something that was already bad and then trying to make it fake because you have to change that. You have to change Blue Gender to make it enjoyable. And it was worse.
Yeah, I mean, even if you changed it, it was bad. It was just a bad story all around.
It was so bad.
Yeah, but like diving a little bit deeper into Immersion, just like one more question with Immersion. So let's talk about like quickly anime movies. And Immersion with anime movies, because this is a completely different experience now because you have to sit still for 82 minutes up to 2.5 hours for an anime movie. So what movie can you think of, anime movie that you could think of off the top of the dome that really hit every single keynote for an immersion for a movie? For you to sit there for for like an hour and a half or 2.5 hours.
Vampire Hunter D. I would say both of them, both the original and Bloodlust. Bloodlust especially was actually no, I got sucked in for both of them. And those are like classic examples of great. Green Legend Ron is they never dubbed that one, but that was a fantastic sub situation. That was extremely immersive. Yeah. Sword of the Stranger was also immersive. That was really well mixed. Was it 5 centimeters? 5 centimeters a second. That was pretty good. There's if we're talking movies, any of the Miyazaki films.
Oh yeah. I mean, let's not even get it twisted.
Like any of the Miyazaki films, and so if I had to pick, I would say Spirited Away and Mononoke Hime were probably those were amazing. Now I would say when it comes to it's amazing. I would have to say now when it comes to dub, the only outside of Oceans, the only team I know that are sort of the king of dubs and they do amazing jobs dub and is Disney. When Disney got a hold of Studio Ghibli and they got a hold of the masterworks of Hayao Miyazaki and Misao, they not only did they dub it like at the Academy Award level dubbing because they had access to Skywalker Soundstage when they did their dubs and stuff like that. So they have the best sound in the planet that they're working with. Not only did they do that, but they also each and every one of those Studio Ghibli things are also they're also dubbed in 5 languages. And the dubs are all equal quality in those other languages as well. High level recording.
Amazing.
Super immersive mixing. Like obviously Disney's got long money and they're able to do that. But can you understand the feat of being able to translate something in 5 different languages and you're still having the same experience no matter what in all those languages. And the translations are more or less adequate. Yeah. That is so hard to do. No one but Disney that I can think of is able to pull that off. Not that I have my own problems with Disney, but I can't sleep on the work that they did in Studio Ghibli. That's the best anime, especially at the movie level. Yeah. But I think there's also the thing that to contrast as well is that movies tend to have a bigger upfront budget than series do when it comes to anime.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that they get it right though. I mean, it's like we've had
that doesn't mean they get it right. But you might have a better base ingredient though. You might have a better Japanese product. Yeah. With a Japanese movie because they're putting more budget in it. With, how it used to work. It's a sidebar, but it's relevant. How it used to work with a lot of Asian media is that they would purchase a series. Essentially, you would purchase a series when it went to anime. You would do like the whole series was prepaid. So if it was going to be 12 episodes, the 12 episodes is prepaid. We're not waiting for the ratings to come out to decide if we're going to do another episode like we do in Western media.
Mm-hmm.
The whole 12 episodes is done, and the whole 12 episodes get out. If it's popular enough, the whole 50 episodes, if the manga or whatever was popular enough, we paid for 50 episodes. 50 episodes, done. Period. Now it's closer to a pay-as-you-go, depending upon how the fans react to it. But back in the day, you prepaid for the show. The whole, like, we did the show and we're done. So they get the big budget right off the start. Great sound right off the start. So you have this amazing baseline ingredient to work with. That's especially true with anime movies. With an anime show, you didn't always necessarily have the biggest budget. They were just trying to get something that was super popular as a manga and get that out as a show.
Yeah.
You didn't always necessarily have a high budget, but movies always had a higher budget up front.
Yeah.
It's a shorter form storytelling thing than a show, but you at least got the budget for the sound and the immersion and that ability. So that's one of the reasons why I think that for me, a lot of the dubs I like the most tend to be movies. Like what I mentioned with Dragon Ball Z. My favorite dubs from Dragon Ball Z, if it's not from the Saiyan Saga, it's from the movies.
Yeah.
While Oceans was still doing it. Oceans did the movies best, even at the animation quality level.
Yep.
Was higher.
Yep.
So I definitely think I'm partial if we're talking like in terms of a transferable experience. Immersion tends to be better with movies because they're trying to make it. They're trying to make something that you can play on a big screen. They're trying to make something that's designed for surround sound from the start. So to me, immersion tends to be better from a sub-dub transference when we're talking about a movie.
Agreed. So I mean, like, so now we go to the final part, which is timelessness. And what we mean by this is that this is something that if you played it for another generation, the next generation will actually feel it. You know, so that means it passed the quality control, it passed the immersion, and now we're offering it to a whole nother generation. For example, I love One Piece. Absolutely enjoy One Piece. Hate the dub. The dub is the trashiest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. But the sub, there's no denying there's some of the best voice acting I've ever heard in any anime, especially in consistency, because like these are pretty much been the same people since like 1991, 1990, 8 or whatever it is that they 1998, 1999, whatever it was, they started the doggone anime. Most of these people are the same people on the show. My son, he's 3 now, but I remember he was 2. I was watching I was in the Dressrosa saga, and we were just going into Wano. It was like right before Wano started in the anime, and he saw an episode with me. He sat down and watched, and he looked at it and he was asking me questions about the characters, and he's like, that guy's voice is funny. He was talking about Pika. I was like, Pika had the voice, he had the real squeak, big old body dude, made everybody laugh. You know what I'm saying? But he was like, so when he sees it, he's 3 still. He's 3. He'll be 4 in a little bit, like not too far away. He'll be like, One Piece. I got other kids that I know that have seen, manga. Dragon Ball is a timeless one. We may not agree with that. We like the entire story, but it's timeless. Because every single generation gets their fix of Dragon Ball. Every single generation finds their way to Yu Yu Hakusho. You notice that? It's like this generation found Yu Yu Hakusho, and now they co-oping with the shirts with Yu Yu Hakusho and Yusuke. What I'm saying? Like Yusuke is on. I'm like, this is crazy. Urameshi is on shirts.
And I would say the dub of Yu Yu Hakusho was so legendary that when
great.
Jump Heroes came out, and when was it the 2 Jump games like Jump Force and Jump
J-Star,
they got the same cast back.
Yeah, they did.
They got the whole same cast back, like for Toguro and for Yusuke. And they did their same line, their legendary lines and their moves and stuff. They did it all again.
Yep.
Like that's how you know it's timeless. Is that if you can make a video game that the kids might not have even watched the shows, and the video games are doing really good, and it has to have the same cast again.
Yes,
that's how you know you did it right.
That's true. So like that adds to the point is that the timelessness goes beyond the anime. It goes beyond the manga. It goes into popular medium. It goes into video games. It goes into other shows. It goes into specials, you know, and a dub, then if it's a good dub, the dub then benefits by expanding the market by them getting t-shirts and things like that, you know, and getting sales. And we see that stuff happening a lot with like certain ones. And then you get like other ones that people want to be timeless. Black Clover, back to back Black Clover real quick. You know, it's just, it won't get there.
It's not timeless.
It won't get there. It's going to be a one and done, because it's not because the show is trash. Well, to me it is, but it's not because the show is trash, but it's because the elements that stack it up when it comes to quality and immersion, I think they lose it at immersion. They break your immersion so people like can detach from it real easy. Yusuke Urameshi being a teenage delinquent, getting killed by saving a kid in the streets. If you ain't fully,
we've been chasing Yusuke for 20 years.
Yeah,
we tried to catch Yusuke with Bleach.
Yeah,
and it still wasn't the same. Like we've never had anything like Yusuke ever since then. We've never had anything like that.
They tried again.
Both the sub and the dub, legendary. Legendary.
There's a new anime right now that I cannot remember off the top of the dome. Just give me 1 second. That is now chasing that same crowd. And once again, I think it's going to be a one and done. People can get mad at me for saying that, but I don't think it's going to be the thing that really blows up, because the way that they structured this particular paranormal story, it doesn't really fit the way that the Yusuke's fit. It's Jujutsu Kaisen. Jujutsu Kaisen.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Like so it's going to get it's going to get
good,
big,
but it's going to get big. It's going to be nice.
It won't be timeless.
It's not going to be timeless. It's not Yu Yu Hakusho. Yu Yu Hakusho is like look, even when they redid, they dubbed the theme song. When they dubbed the theme song, the
theme song is still lit.
It's still lit. People still sample it to make beats. People still they sample both the Japanese and the dub to make beats to this day.
They literally matched it almost word for word.
They did.
You know what I'm saying? And
it wasn't corny. It was amazing.
So Rurouni Kenshin's first intro was done the exact same way. And that one is also timeless. Like that series is timeless. Like people, once again, Yu Yu Hakusho, Rurouni Kenshin, Dragon Ball Z primarily, Dragon Ball Z. What's the name of your boy? One Piece.
Akira. That's another timeless one.
Akira. You know what I'm saying?
That's still streaming right now on Hulu.
Every single generation catches it. Every single one. So, but can you think of anything that's current that you think will be timeless? And why?
Anything that's current now?
Yeah, like
maybe Boku no, maybe Boku no might be. Maybe that. I can't think of anything that's not right.
I agree. I mean, I think Boku no has a potential. The one I'm gonna give you, you can be like, yeah. Kimetsu no Yaiba, the Demon Slayer.
That is a perfect anime. Now, see, I haven't watched the dub, so I don't know. I don't know if the dub is. I don't know. I can't tell you about the dub part. But in terms of like the sub and then the manga, so the sub and the manga, it's flawless.
Freaking good.
It's flawless. The villain is the villain is a perfect villain.
He is. I mean, look, Trevor. Shut up. I'm talking to myself. I wasn't talking to you. I was about to go straight into the manga. I was about to be that dude. Oh, you didn't read the manga? I'm trying my best not to be that guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying my best not to be the guy. I say, oh, you didn't read the manga? You should read the manga. I'm trying not to be that guy. You know what I'm saying?
It was like the ending in the manga was one of the most satisfying.
Oh my goodness,
flawed,
bro.
But the thing I don't know though, I don't know if it will. I think it can be timeless in terms of the fact that it'll always be fresh and always be good, but I don't know that it's going to get the same kind of viewership. I feel like if this thing had come out 10 years earlier, it would then be solidified as legendary. But I feel like there's too much in this era where there's so much such short attention spans. I don't know if Kimetsu no Yaiba is going to be able to achieve that legendary status of like a Yu Yu Hakusho.
So let me throw this in here as a qualifier. So why I think Kimetsu no Yaiba might actually make it. So Kimetsu no Yaiba is breaking records everywhere it goes. It just beat Spirited Away in the box office. That's crazy. Okay, like you have to like let that qualify. Like it beat Spirited Away. Miyazaki, it beat it. And it's now sitting comfortably at the top of all charts for anime. And I'm like,
just for context, everybody,
in Japan,
Spirited Away won an Oscar. I just want to it won an. It's the only Miyazaki film that won an Oscar.
Right. So it's literally beat everything so far. They had the new movie. I think it's the Infinity Train, and they ended the manga ended. I mean, not the manga. The show ended on the pursuit of going into the actual Infinity Train and at that particular arc that they had in the manga. So I'm thinking if they just rather than them do a series, if they just tie up the end with just movies, make them into OVA style movies and just finish it that way, bruh. See, this is what animes wanted, because what ends up happening, like I know that what's the name of the joint? History's Strongest Disciple, Kenichi, was to me the closest to get this right. But they can't be timeless. And I love the show, but I have to admit what I know. It's not going to be timeless. It's not one of the ones that people are going to immediately refer to when they think about anime. That's going to be one that you have to get a seasoned vet to talk to you about in order for you to know what it is. But if Kimetsu no Yaiba actually just, say, we're not going to give you the end in a show. We'll give you the end in a movie. Sucker's going to be running to the doggone theater to watch this thing because they're going to want us after the construction that these 26 episodes of anime did for people. I mean,
look, it's flawless. It's flawless. It's a 10 out of 10.
And you know
it's
another
10 out of 10. It's flawless.
There's another one that people gonna be mad at me for saying this, but I mean, I like the show. I mean, I'm just being real about it, but I just don't think it's gonna be timeless. Attack on Titan.
Oh no, it's not.
It's not gonna be timeless
because if it's not already timeless, because I mean, look, it's been around for a while. It's been around since we were in college.
Mm-hmm.
So and we've been out of college 10 years, and so it's been. So if it hadn't achieved legendary status already, if it wasn't going to be timeless at this point, it's not gonna.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
same thing for Claymore. Claymore could have been. But Claymore, they mismanaged the anime because they were making it too quickly, and it was catching up to the thing, and so they just gave it an alternate ending, which was awful.
Yep,
it went on too long.
And once again, like dealing with Attack on Titan, the story is so niche, that it doesn't really branch out as much as I think that it would actually have been allowed to do to be timeless. His market was dealing with freedom, and the repercussions of wanting freedom, and what that market is very, very slim, and most of the people watching the show don't even get that. I mean, I talked to some folks, they're like, I don't even understand. Like, Eren wants to be free. That's what his whole thing is about. He just wants to be free, and how far he'll go to get freedom is the situation that we see ourselves in with the show. So, but dealing with that, I don't think it'll be timeless. It'll be good for this generation, but the next generation is gonna come in like, why the world we watching a bunch of butt naked Titans? It's like a bunch of butt naked Titans that look all weird and stuff. They may stay around, but I don't think that they would. But once again, you flip the coin, Demon Slayer hit you with the hook. They gave you him walking, and then all of a sudden his family was gone, but they showed him training fully. They didn't do that in Attack on Titans. Attack on Titan, they kind of accelerated. They kind of like showed you a little bit, then they used flashbacks to give you that. So the immersion for that part was broken. But with Demon Slayer, it showed him fail over and over again. And he had two trainers, spoiler, he had two trainers, and the trainers were actually not even alive. And I was like, yo, wait, hold up, what? It was like their own spirits coming back to get this boy at least prepared so he won't die from what they died from. I was like, look now, you done messed me up. you done messed me up, because like the application for that, it was great. I was like, this is great, but I can't think of a single moment in Attack on Titan that does that moment where you like, oh, these people they were dead the whole time. Whoa.
Mm-hmm. It's a flawless show. The mix and mastering of the sub, at least I haven't watched the dub, but the mix and mastering of it is flawless. Great recording. It's just a complete package. So I hope the dub does the same kind of justice to it. But I even read the manga as well. I finished the manga when the manga completed, and it's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, it is.
Like with raw ingredients like that. So this is an instance where I can't see the dub being better than the sub. It would be really hard to because it was so good. But if they could make a dub that's of equal quality, then that would solidify it. To me, that would solidify it as an iconic, timeless. Like it's the best kind of anime.
Yeah.
If they could do that, so they have their work cut out for them for their dub. If they can make their dub match that, it would be in the Hall of Fame, because then that means that when the next Jump Force comes out and they're going to have Kimetsu no Yaiba in there, they're going to get the original cast to come in, because that's exactly what they did. They had both the English cast and both the Japanese cast for Jump Force and for J-Stars. They did.
Yeah.
Like if you can do that, then that lets you know that you've done your job. If you can get the original cast for both languages to come in and do their work.
Yeah. Agreed. So I'm gonna read you something from Oda about this joint right here real quick. Just give me a moment. It blew me away. I was like, when Oda gives you praise, you did something right. Oda, this is Oda talking about the construction of Kimetsu no Yaiba, and he let me see if I can get that message wrote. Oda 6. Give me a second. Here it is. He said, speaking of the creator and of Kimetsu no Yaiba, he said, at Jump, Demon Slayer was really amazing. I enjoyed how it was able to save the feelings of so many people. Absolutely superb work. This is how I want manga to be. It touched me somehow. That's praise. And that's what said that's what it's supposed to. It's supposed to touch you. I think. Yeah. And that's the reason why I don't think Attack on Titan is gonna be timeless, because this is no shade. I think it's an amazing show, but it doesn't really touch you. It mostly deals with the fact that things are happening and they're presenting them to you, and you have to process it, and it's like more shock than anything. But as far as like you feel like you're there. Outside of like, and there doesn't need to be a whole lot of mystery. We already know who the villain is. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't even we don't need no 75 different puzzles to try and figure out who the villain is. Or we know who the sucker is, and we just don't know what he's capable of. But we know what he is. You know, but it's like the journey there, especially accomplished in the manga, the journey there, and then the final ending, the final ending, because it was 2 endings. You know, it's the final ending, you know, it's beautiful. So I think that because of that, especially if they put it in the theater, bruh, there's gonna be a dry in the room if they do the double ending. You know what I'm saying? They show like what happened. I don't think there won't be a dry eye. The Aaron meeting his end, I don't know. I mean, like I don't know how this next manga gonna be, but there's no good consequence for none of this. So this is not going to be a happy ending for Attack on Titan. Like there's no such thing. I mean, if he does, he usurped his own creation. It's like it doesn't make sense. So, but yeah. I mean, like, but
I would say that for our original topic of like the dub versus sub, like, and this is something we talked about offline earlier today. Is just like. The whole purpose. So I know some people, they just swear off dubs altogether. Dubs are trash. They're so elitist about subs in particular. They feel like it's just impossible. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so to me, I prefer subs, but that's just because dubs tend to be so bad.
Yes. Yes.
Like to me, because so my wife speaks 3 languages and she teaches English as a second language, right?
Yeah.
So to me, Dub is just part of the whole translation process to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's about transferability.
Mm-hmm.
It's about transferability and about accessibility.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, I just want a good story. So if the story is trash, don't dub it because you dub in trash. Don't do that.
Mm.
So if you're trying to take something from another culture and bring it over to a different culture for them to experience it, you have to make it accessible to them.
Yes.
Accessible doesn't mean changing it.
Yep.
It doesn't make it. It just makes it like do the best you can to present it in the way that they will understand it best while still maintaining the integrity. That means everything about it. That means away from the way that it looks, to the way that it sounds, to how compelling the acting is in there. That you have to be able to make that accessible to the next person for them to get into it.
Yep.
So which means if the dub is a trash dub, either because the quality is bad or because the acting is bad or because or there's something about it that pulls you out when they brought it over to a different country from Japan that pulls you out, or if it's just like it's not. I'm not saying that it has to be timeless to be good, but just the criteria of both quality and immersion working together to make it a cohesive element.
Facts.
If your dub can't keep that going, don't do it. Don't dub it.
Yeah.
Don't bother. Why? Like it's just, the dub is not going to be good if it does not effectively make it accessible to the next market. And if you have to change it, if you have to change the story, if you have to make a Voltron to make it accessible, then you have to just erase the original show and smash together a whole bunch of other stuff, change the names and everything. If you got to do that, you shouldn't have dubbed it. You should have just left it as subs and let them take it or leave it.
Yeah, I agree.
That kind of thing like that. So that because it's supposed to be about cultural exchange, and so for like nerds in general and blurs in particular, we were looking for something different because a lot of us were outsiders as kids in the 80s and 90s.
Yep.
We were looking for something different that was going to be different than the cultures we were in. So for us, this was cultural exchange. So this allowed us to travel the world when we didn't have the money to travel the world.
Yep.
That allowed us to be able to do that. So if you come in and you monk with it and you change it and you make it something different, cultural exchange hasn't happened. You're just giving me an American product.
Facts.
I didn't pick up anime because I was interested in an American product. I picked up anime because I wanted to see something different that was happening in that world.
Yep.
And a quality dub like what Oceans does, like what Oceans did and what Disney does, what that does is it makes that stuff accessible to me. A quality sub can also do that as well. A quality sub makes it accessible to me.
Yep.
So whichever of those mediums is going to make it accessible when it's coming over to me without Americanizing it, but making it something that I can also have that deep immersive experience as it was originally intended, then that's you go with the one that's going to do that. That's my opinion about that. Like whichever the one is going to give you the immersive experience, do that. That's why I bought the English. That's why I bought the Oceans Pioneer English version dub of Dead Zone again after 15 years. I went and bought it again because it gave me the same feeling, that same formative feeling that it gave me 15, 16 years ago. Actually, longer than that, 20 years ago. It brought me back to that same moment when I was like 16 years old, 15 years old. It brought me back to that again, and I experienced it all over again. I was sucked in. And then my engineering ear is more mature now. And so I'm like, oh, all these years later, 20 years later, it's still dope. It's still dope. It's still like it was well crafted. Like it sounds good. Like it's professional. It was not done with a mattress, a $2 mic in a bathroom.
I made a mistake earlier. I made a mistake earlier just to clarify for people. I was thinking about Tree of Might when you were talking about Dead Zone, because they did Tree of Might too. Because now I'm like Dead Zone, Tree of Might, those particular ones to me, I was like, there's
those three, the Tree of Might, the World's Strongest, and
World's Strongest was the other one. Yeah, like so, like they did all of those, and each one of those hold up now. I would put those against the dubs that we got for like Dragon Ball Super, and that's recent. You know what I'm saying? Like I would put them against. I'm like, I still feel more from Tree of Might than I do from most of the stuff that I've seen from Dragon Ball in the last like decade. It's a timeless piece of art. So yeah, but then like what Ordinary Fellow was talking about just a moment ago, just to throw in one little last tidbit. Diversity of faces is not diversity of thought. And I'm gonna end with this. So what I mean by this is this: if you're gonna bring over a dub, like Ordinary Fellow was just saying, don't make it American. That's not what this is about. Don't make it Western. That's not what this is about. Not unless it's Avatar: The Last Airbender, which was made by Americans. That's different. And that's no shade. I'm just saying, like there were things in there that was intrinsically for us, but they were kind of snatching some stuff from other cultures. But it was intrinsically made for us that was easy to spread throughout the world. But the perspective that was made from was still a Western perspective. I mean, it had the Eastern perspective, but it was being explained from a Western perspective. But don't take a movie like Escaflowne and try and muck it up by making it Western, by giving it diverse voices, because you want to have a black person and a white person, an Asian person, Latin person, all voice and on. That is not diversity. Diversity is thought. You need to have like ideas in these things that make you see things differently. Like Ordinary Fellow was just saying, when we were kids, man, we couldn't afford to go nowhere. Anime and video games was the escape. Not like it was what helped us see things differently. It helped us understand people that we would never meet, in a realm and that's why our appreciation for it is very high. It's not because we just like want to dress up and go to cons, and that's no shade towards them. We got a segment for that coming up very soon, by the way, about cosplayers, but it won't be particularly just shade. But we're gonna talk about that. Like what this culture really did is when it came to exploitation. By the gun, it feels like in the West, to well, we can make money off of this. Let's go ahead and just let's make all the toys. Let's make all these stupid plushy toys, and let's throw all these things out there. The girls like that stuff. The guys like that. And I'm like, they'll make you money, but the anime won't be timeless. There's been so many animes that have dropped in the past like 15 years that are mad forgettable. And what do you remember? Dragon Ball, One Piece. You remember Bleach. You remember Yu Yu Hakusho, maybe Naruto, and I say that with a distinct bit of happiness, maybe Naruto, because their dub is trash.
It's really bad.
So it hurts the immersion in the West. So now it's a joke in the West because they're like Naruto's voice had to sound like a chain smoker, and it's true.
Believe it.
Believe it. That's what.
So see, throwing in the believe it, that was westernizing it right there.
It was westernizing.
Date bio. That's a really specific dialectical. Yeah, it's a specific dialectical quirk of how he speaks Japanese. It's just sort of like how like Southerners would say y'all.
Yo.
Like we're like it's just like that.
Or people in Canada say don't you know, or
Yeah, or anus, stuff like that.
What I'm saying? Like
stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. It wasn't even words to be translated. It's just like it's kind of like what I'm saying. Right? Yeah, like you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. You feel me? It was that. Like Dr. Bio was pretty much like you feel me. You feels me. You know what I'm saying. You understands me.
It's a quirk of the dialect. That's all. That's all it was. It wasn't a catchphrase.
Yep.
It's a quirk of the dialect, and you took that away. You take that away. You're actually robbing something that made because they kind of made fun of how Naruto talked. That's actually a quirk. That's a quirk of a lot of anime. Like Oda does it a lot with That's actually one of Oda's signatures in One Piece. Is every character has their own dialect, has their own dialect, their own little thing their own laugh, and then So that's so you're taking away a major piece of cultural exchange by taking something that was a dialectical quirk and then making it a catchphrase.
Yeah, and it hurts, because once again, that's because the Westerner does not understand that, because they haven't even looked far enough around the United States to see that when you go from the East Coast to the West Coast, dialect completely changes. So they say to themselves that we only speak this one particular way in English, and I'm like, that's even a lie. And that diversity of voices, quote unquote, of like, we're gonna get all these diverse faces to do voices is not diversity. It's colonialism. That is colonial. That's taking a bunch of faces that you procured, that you put into your society and said talk. But when it comes to an actual diversity of thought, project where it really makes you think, and you have an amazing voice acting cast. That to me is more diverse than anything. When you can actually dub a subbed anime in a way where its same impact that it had overseas is the same impact we have here. People are chomping at the bit for Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba.
Yep.
They're chomping the bit, and I'm hoping that we don't mess this up because it could easily be screwed up by anybody over here and will ruin the immersion and will kill its timelessness in the West. But in the East, from what we see, that sucker done hit the wrong where it's been given a throne. And it's crazy that it didn't need 500 or 400 mangas to do that.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying?
It's actually a relatively short manga. It did not last that long, but it was full and complete. Yeah,
like it's crazy to me because like the construction of it almost feels like a light novel. Like the way that they wrote it, it doesn't feel, it's 23 volumes. That's not particularly long for an anime. For an anime this particular like popularity. But they have found a way to procure the throne. And it's crazy because Attack on Titan was like getting there. It was right there.
Well, I would say the difference between Attack on Titan and Kimetsu no Yaiba. Kimetsu no Yaiba to me sounded like it was a complete thought. From the beginning, it was a complete thought. Like from the beginning, the dude knew exactly how, like the writer, the author, he knew how it was going to end from the beginning. Yeah. He had a complete thought from that. And we know Attack on Titan was not a complete thought. We also know that Oda, as good as he is, One Piece is not a complete thought. He has a general idea of how we have a general idea, I'm sure, of how he wants it to end, but it wasn't a complete thought. Why else would it be going on for 20 years now? Like we in if it was a complete thought.
We about like 21 years. I mean, we just praying that Oda can just finish it. We're like, Oda, just please, hold on.
Like enough already, bro.
Yeah, like hold on, man. He scared us last year, man. Like right at the end of last year, he scared us because he had a health scare, and I was like, no, older man, like stay well. Not like just to take the selfishness out. The dude's a legend. I'm like, don't do that to yourself, man. But he has 97 volumes of One Piece. 97.
Look, One Piece is not, but One Piece is like two others that I just
1997, by the way, was when we started that joint. 1997.
I would say the other two like legendary anime that continue to go on for a long time, Case Closed and Prince of Tennis. Those are also like, my God. But here's the thing: One Piece is not like those two, which are just basically episodic based. One Piece has an overarching narrative, and someone needs to get the Wrap It Up box out and press the studio audience music to get him like wrap it up. Okay, enough. This is not Case Closed. Oda, wrap this up.
Yeah, he just hit 1,000. He just hit 1,000 manga, man. I think that was a goal. He hit it. So it's like, all right. So what we do now? So I think like we have to go to the Isle of the Giants, and then that's it. I truly do believe that's pretty much it for that, man. But we'll talk about this for a while, but we're gonna end it here. But so I'm gonna ask you one last question. Which do you prefer? Sub or dub?
Oh, me? I have more subs than dubs in my thing, but I would say it depends. It really does depend, but I would say that if my knee jerk is towards a sub. Okay, it is. Cool. You would have to really impress me with a dub for me to pick a dub.
So that's one mark up for the subs because you're the first one. It sounds like this is going to just be a deliberation where each person gives me, they give. But we're going to talk about the 3 parts, but I want to know what they actually prefer at the very end. So this has been good, man. I appreciate you, man. Like it's always good talking to the blurred stuff with a brother that's a full blown blurred. So thank you, man, for
thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah, like we'll get you back on again very soon because we're gonna be doing some weird stuff with Dragon Ball Evolution and and Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's gonna be called the Faded Review. How to fade reviews. It's actually the term for it. So you'll look for that soon, guys. That'll be coming quite soon. I'm hoping we'll be able to record this stuff in February because it'll be a watch along and you'll probably be able to hear the audio and we'll just be trashing it, but I'll probably release a video, but I'll have it I'll have the video speeding past because I don't need no copyright strikes. But it's just being real about the situation. Don't need that in my life. But any final words you want to say, man? Anyone you want to leave with the people?
Wear a mask. Wear a mask and wash your hands. COVID-19 is a disease that is transmitted and received through the holes in your face. And so therefore, like, covering the holes in your face is not going to prevent you from getting sick. It's not going to save the world. You can slow it down a little bit. You can slow it down and you can help prevent your family from getting sick. Do your part.
Agreed.
If you living your best life with your mask off, how about help me live my best life? Put on a mask. Or stay home. Wear a mask. And go get tested.
And please do not yell about it. It violates your constitutional right, because I'm still trying to figure out where that is in the Constitution. But
neither of us are liberals, by the way. I'm probably more liberal than Trevor is, but neither of us would be considered. We're not far left people.
Yeah,
here,
I'm not far left, not conservative. I'm in the middle. I just want things to be done correctly. That's all. So I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican. I don't care if you're in a Tea Party or the Libertarian Party. If you can get stuff done right, we good. So, but yeah, wear your goddamn mask. I mean, it's not killing you. I mean, I'm sorry, it's not. But yeah, I'm just get off there. Just wear your goddamn mask. Solve those enigmas and don't leave my solve, but wear your goddamn mask. All right, we out.